The Mavs Clippers series. This has been a back and forth series. Game 5 was yesterday. The Mavs won that. The series is now 3-2. Um Overall thoughts in the series. The Clippers, Luka Doncic is just this dude is different. Um they tried to play him so many ways. He's one of those guys that's gonna get a lot of ball screens. So they try to drop coverage him, not really working out because he can just get inside, put you in jail, get to the floater. Um, they try to trap, but they try to trap like around the third, fourth quarter, but he's good at just getting the ball out quick and just and the Mavs just pass the ball around and find the open man, which is good. Uh they really did this thing with switching.
You
The
don't like
switching thing,
switching.
I I like it in a bit of moderation. Like if you switch everything, it's not going to be pretty and it's just gonna allow like, all right, I'm picking that guy out, Reggie Jackson, you getting on Luca, it's a wrap for you. And the Mavs just went to that all the time. Um Zubats actually has been playing good defense when he gets switched on Luca, but he's just making tough shots and Luca could just get to the spots. But switch heavy defenses like the Miami Heat, the Brooklyn Nets, we're gonna talk about later. I like it because it at least has a body in front of you, but there's so many ways to attack it, and
Yeah.
it's just like mindless switching. And I'm not a big fan of all that, so it's been interesting. What are your overall thoughts on this series?
There's like with switching, there's a way to do it, like the Heat last year where it works, but when it doesn't work and you don't have the right team to do it, it clearly does not work. I think it's just funny that I like anecdotal things and whatever that word is. But I
Anecdotal.
like, yeah, I like that this series is extremely weird that no home team has won.
Yeah, that
And I can't tell if that's because players got used to playing with no fans. So now playing at home with fans cheering for you is uncomfortable and makes you nervous. And then you can kind of, if you're an away team, you can figure out a way to drown out fans. I wonder if there's something with that, but it's just very odd. I think Luca, like the stars have pretty much been the star of the series. Like Luca, the first two games was dominant, and then he's hurt. We think
it
at
was
least
like
in game
nerve
3 he was
injury.
hurt. No,
He was a
4.
nerve injury in his neck. Game 4 he was hurt, and you can see that he was hurt
Yeah,
because he was just making plays that's just not like crisp. It's just not like Luca.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and
But
he was like struggling and like,
yeah,
eh. It's just crazy how one game and then game 5 he's just back and he just dropped like a
yeah.
40 number.
Like I don't know what happened between game 4 and game 5, but whatever happened, he was cured. Hmm.
I'm glad it happened. For those
Yeah.
who don't know, I am a Dallas Mavericks fan, but I am heavily critical. This man knows it of my team, so I do not
Yes.
hold back on them at all.
Yeah. Which makes sense because they're not exactly, I don't know. I don't want to say that because they're a smart team, they're just an oddly managed roster. That's how I'll phrase that because their roster construction is weird, but the coaching is great. And like what they did last night, I like Carlisle. Like what he did last night was extremely creative and won them the game. That's what
See,
happened.
I don't even know if it was good coaching. It's just more like, all right, let's switch something up and let's just throw it out there and see if it sticks. So in game five, um, to combat basically Kawhi and Paul George getting to the rim at will, which was happening all series. If you're saying it's pandemic P, then you're just not watching the series.
No.
Kawhi has just been annihilating this team, flat out. Paul George has been good this series. Like when those two are clicking, it's a wrap. And it really makes it hard for the Mavericks to battle with them. So what was happening was Kawhi was just getting in the lane at will. Paul George was getting in the lane at will. Anyone was basically getting in the lane at will. So what they did was they inserted Boban Marjanovic as the starting center. They moved KP to the power forward spot, and they basically said, let's run zone. Let's run a 2-3 zone against the Clippers small ball lineup. What went off in my head was, how the hell are you going to run zone with Boban on there when there's shooters all around? It's going to stretch Boban to the 3-point line, and all the Clippers have to do is just pass the ball around, pass the ball around, pass the ball around, and someone will be open for three. That was happening. Clippers just wasn't making their threes early on to start. So the defense looked like genius. And it actually wasn't bad because Boban was actually doing a good job, like closing out and all that. But it was just interesting. And with
All right.
Boban out there, it kind of like forced the Clippers to play more drop coverage, and he was at least making them pay. He was an inside presence. So yeah.
The only reason why I'm gonna say that it won you the game is because you could have started off with your regular lineup and then immediately have Kawhi and PG-13 automatically go to the paint and keep driving. And then it's a competitive first quarter. And the Clippers would have played the same brand of basketball that they did when you guys were in Dallas. And maybe it's 30-30 at the end of the first quarter. Instead, you go out there, you shock them, you confuse them. They don't know what they're doing. They're not hitting their shots. Ty Lue kind of waits too long to call a timeout, in my opinion, because if I would have seen that lineup and went, oh, this is weird, this is different, I'm going to call a timeout. And now we're going to figure stuff out because you guys got off to a super hot start. They called a timeout, and then it was more back to normal where the Clippers were like, okay, we're going to pass the ball around.
Yeah.
That like quick little mini false start that the Clippers did kind of kept you in the lead for the rest of the game. And like that was the thing. Like it was kind of you got off to this odd fast start and then closed out on the third quarter like amazing, like what 25-5 run, and like that was the game. Like it was the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes of the third quarter, and that was it. But
And what was I gonna say? It kind of got scary in the fourth quarter
yeah,
because the offense wasn't looking crisp with even Luka out there. The Clippers were like funneling in the paint. They were getting stops. And it was a point where I think Marcus Morris hit a three, Reggie Jackson was hitting a three, and then it was getting scary. It was getting close. I had texted you. I was like, I'm about to have a heart attack, dude.
yeah,
I'm about to have a heart attack. Um, but they got good stretches where they got stops. I think the biggest thing was the Terrence Mann missed layup. I mean, the Nicholas Batum missed layup. Terrence Mann, like Paul
well,
George was Paul George was like coming up the lane. They closed off the Mavericks closed off a driving lane with Luca and Finney Smith, I believe. So Terrence Mann had an open lane, passed it. Luca came over, and Batum was cutting in. And Batum had a good look, but he just missed it. But Man should have took the shot, to be honest.
yeah, I was gonna say it's more of a missed shot on Man because he had a wide open lane and decided to pass to Batum. But
It was a
it's
good pass, though.
yeah, but he passed it to Batum, and once that happened, whoever was trying to defend Man, and Man had him on his like back shoulder and could have easily just laid it up with the left hand. Instead, he
Exactly.
just passed it, and the way he passed it to Batum, who the guy who was guarding Man, I don't know exactly who it was, but
It was
it was Luca. All he did was turn around and put up his hands and immediately contested the Batum shot, and that made it a difficult shot, and that sealed the game. Like if Man makes that layup, I don't know what happens because it would have been weird. Just because what it would have been like 102, 103, right?
it would be like, yeah, they would just be down one, and then they just play the
Yeah,
fouling game, and then all they have to really do is just make a three to
yeah.
get back tied or something like that. But yeah,
So Batum misses. I'm looking at the play rundown. Batum misses 2-point layup 3 feet away. The score is 101, 100. So Clippers have the lead. That would force Luca to hit a game winner, essentially, because there was 9 seconds left.
and that can go either great or poor.
Yeah.
But I trust Luca in taking and making those shots. Um, who I will give a nice shout out to is Dorian Finney-Smith. Multiple steals down the stretch. He had 5 steals in the game. He picked off some passes from Paul George, was doing a good job on Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was held to like 7 of 19 field goal shooting. And the Mavs like kind of like double teamed him very early on within that zone. So it just forced the ball out of Kawhi's hands, and he was forced to take like some pretty contested shots.
Mm-hmm.
And Kawhi showed he was human. But Dorian Finney-Smith really came down clutch with defense to win this game, which I'm so
Yep.
glad for.
Yeah. He had a defensive rating of 102, which is pretty good. He had the lowest defensive rating, or yeah, lowest defensive rating. I don't because the defensive spectrum is like, is it lowest or highest defensive rating? Because it's better that it's lower. You know what I mean?
It's better that's lower.
Yeah. So
So instead of
102, really good. And he has the lowest defensive rating in the game. Terrence Mann also is 102, but only played 15 minutes. So,
Terrence Mann is really good.
oh, I love Terrence Mann. He's
Really good
great.
player. Um,
But yeah, that's Finney Smith is out there to hit an occasional corner three if he can and guard everything. And if he does that, you'll be fine. Like,
yeah, he's more so just 3-and-D. I do
yeah,
not trust that man taking the ball and driving to the rim. Not at
no,
all. He
no.
needs to tighten up that handle, but he's really trying out there on defense, and that's something we really need because we need at least not to completely stop Kawhi or Paul George, but more so slow them down, make them take tough shots, and just live with the results.
Yeah,
Um,
don't let them get to the lane.
and that's the main thing
First,
that they've been doing.
yeah.
So there you go.